Hello, 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 hello. We are live, we are live, we are live. Okay, make sure that we really are live. I guess it's a good thing I'm like me all the time. Otherwise, it'd be really bad to be like on hot mics like this. But luckily, I'm just as weird off the mic as I am on. But not the kind of weird we've been talking about this week. Like the normal kind of weird. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Tarot Goddess. Thanks for being here. I'm just sitting here laughing at myself. You know, the usual. So I know it's football season and we got like the World Series going. Like, I know sports and I actually like watching sports, but for very different reasons than most people because I always look at the strategy and like the plays and how things maneuver and work because I love those vibrations. Hi, Annie. I'm glad you made it. Glad you weren't asleep yet. And hopefully I won't put you to sleep. Or I do. It might be a good thing. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. Man, a lot happened in hip hop this week. Um, that definitely has given us some things to talk about. But as we get started, I'm going to, I think, start with our number from last week because it definitely aligns. Oh, okay. Okay, good. I'm glad it's not super late because I never know, Annie. I'm glad 11 p.m. That's not too bad. That's not too bad, especially on a Saturday. Um, so the number that we got on our random number spinner last week was 19. And this was like a big, huge thing. Hey, Noah, thanks for being here. Um, See, look, Annie, this one and this nine is big time, but this is coming from um where we have so September was such a big month because we had September seeped in that nine energy. But also, we are in 2025, which is a 9 year. So, this nine energy is very much getting highlighted right now. And usually, nine is about, and I know you've heard me say this multiple times this year, and especially in the last couple months. But usually, nine is around an ending or completion. But this whole year, this nine very much has felt and has been behaving more like a shift. So it's shifting energy. It's like it's preparing the energy to shift. So it's like pulling out the impurities of that energy so it's able to be shifted as we go into 2026. Now that we're here closer to the end of the year, this one energy, it is for October, that is operating at also at 19 10 1, but also it's for 2026, which is operating at a 10 1. So all of this nine energy is really coming in and it's like prepping all of the energy to be shifted into whatever is coming. And this is new. This is brand new energy. And we have to remember that all of these vibrations are very neutral. So just because it's new doesn't mean that it's necessarily a good new, but it also doesn't mean that it's a bad new. When energy and vibrations come into our space, they always are neutral, and we label them as good or bad depending on our perspective. So where we are in life, um, and so that's important to know. Hey, what's happening here? Oh, oh no, my writing tablet is going dead. Let me see if I have the cord nearby. Um, oh no, oh no, right as we're starting. Hey, Eva, thanks for being here. Let me. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go see if I can find this cord. Um, Let me get up because I don't know what I have on underneath here. But we gotta turn the camera off so we make sure we don't embarrass myself. Um, let's see. It's one of these black cords. Got too many of them. All right, let's see. I think I've got it. 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 I thought I did so good because I charged everything else because I we've had where the mic has gone out before, and I got that charged, and I must have just forgot to do this tablet. Okay, okay, I think we're good. Okay, now I just got to figure out how to turn the camera back on so you can see me again. Sit back down. Get situated. Oh yeah, yeah. Look at your girl getting good at this tech stuff. Oh, I better not say that too loud. It's gonna be trouble. It's gonna go bad. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good now. Everything is plugged in. We're good to go. Hey, new beginnings. Thanks for being here. All right, let me get caught up in this chat. Oh, that's wonderful, Annie. Yeah, right now is definitely a time for healing and health. So that's part of this shift also. So everyone that just came in, thanks for being here. We were just talking about the 19 as the number that came up last week as our number to really pay attention to. And we're talking about how this 9 energy is really coming from both September and this year. And it also is like preparing the energy to be able to shift. So it's very much this shifting. Oh, you're trying to trick me, Raina Ray. But I know, Raina. I watch enough quality to know not to call you by the name on the screen. So hopefully I got it right. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited you made it, Raina. So this 19, this 9 really is, it's like pulling out the impurities from all of this energy in preparation for it to be able to be shifted into this new energy, and to be used as this one energy. And so October is this one, but also 2026. So I've also been saying this week that October is practice for 2026. And so we are in this month. Yes, we have 1 week left, which I cannot believe. Why didn't September go this fast? Because September was some bullshit and it went slow. Well, at least it felt slow. And October finally was some relief. but I think we'll continue to get some relief. And really think about like what has been happening and what the vibrations and the energy has been doing this month, because this really is practice for 2026. Now, it's not going to be as intense, thankfully, because it's going to take this 10 energy and it's going to stretch it over. Instead of just a 1 month period, it'll be stretched over a whole year. But all of these new things that you've been wanting to do, or that you've started this month, or that you've just gotten the idea for this month, these new habits, these new behaviors that have come from like the cleaning of the energy, like old habits have been cleaned out, old thoughts, old mindsets have been cleaned out. So you can prepare for this new. You want to extend that new energy into 2026. Yeah, so 2026 is going to be interesting. And it's going to be extra interesting for the hip hop space, because we know that hip hop is very much in the throes of a shift. And what I think is hip hop is, so if this is, again, here's our triangle of identity. And hip hop is in this power square. And it's right about here on the power square. We're in like, it just turned 52, I believe, for hip hop. And so what we are preparing for, the big, huge hip hop shift, I really think is going to we're really going to start seeing it like the tipping point. So you know how there's never like a stark change. It's never that you are one place and then immediately the next. Like, that's not how these shifts happen, especially not in this earth space. It really is stretched out, just like we were talking about how October is going to be, that energy is going to be stretched out over 2026. This shift in hip hop is going to be stretched out, but I do think the tipping point is going to be here at 54. And we have, well, and part of that is because then that's when hip hop moves. When you're 54 years old, is when hip hop will move from power into wisdom. And this is for everybody. We'll put youth over here too, for those that haven't seen this before. So the triangle is your individual vibrations. It's the individual vibrations of who you are. And through a lifetime, you're moving along this path through these different squares. And it's these transition points that are the most difficult. And so 54 is a very important point in life. It's a key life transition point. Oh, Raina, so you got to get ready for this also. So this will be really good for you. So we have hip hop right now that's at 52, but because this is 2027, or what? I like 2007. I ain't trying to go back that far. Not trying to go back at all. We try to move forward. So 2027 is when hip hop turns 54. But right in here is when we actually have 2026, which is that new energy. So right now we're here in this 2025 energy, which is 9. So this is why at this time, and our energy and like a group, or in this case, hip hop, it actually changes into an energy of the year on its birthday. So I needed to say that because this 2025 energy, this nine energy that was like cleaning up and really truly preparing for this shift in hip hop, didn't start until August. So if we go back just a few months, there's been a lot that has happened in the last few months. So August 11th is hip hop's birthday. So it goes from August 11th until August 10th of the next year. So we're in this 2025 energy with hip hop from August, so back August 2025 until August 2026. So that's when we should start seeing even more of this getting closer to this tipping point in this shift that we're experiencing in hip hop. And we all experience this as individuals. So as we know we're coming to these transition points, then there's some things that we have to work on and we're supposed to be working on to be able to make it to this transition and have a good transition, whether it's out of youth to power or power to wisdom. And one of those things that hip hop is in right now, and please put your questions and anything else you'd like to say into the chat, because I'm just like, once this energy starts rolling, I don't know what's going to come out, but I certainly can shift off if we need to. But one of the things is this Chiron return. And this typically happens between the ages of, about 50 to 51. It can go all the way to 53. So this could extend, because we're seeing this strong also. So the Chiron return is the facing of wounds. It's when you're having to face the wounds of your life, of the generations that came before you. And it's the wounds that have been inflicted on you that you need to heal to be able to move forward. But it's also the wounds that you may have afflicted on others that you need to heal from also, and so that you can move forward. So we can't heal anybody's wounds for them, whether we inflict them or not. But all of the wounds that we carry are ones that have been inflicted on us, but also the ones that we've inflicted. And so it's facing of the wounds. It's having to face the wounds of whatever you've been happening in your life. And so if you, at this time, between the ages of 50 to 53, and really all the way to 54, you should be really facing those wounds and healing those wounds, because that's what's going to help you have a clear transition into wisdom. Yes, Raina. Like this is what should be the focus, and that's why it's the focus. Whether hip hop likes it or not, this is the focus that hip hop has been. It's these wounds that like keep coming up and having to be faced. And so to let you know, feel like I need to put this in here also. When you're in your youth, so this is 0, 9, 18, and these are ages. And then this transition point would have been at age 27. Your youth is when you are building Identity. I'm gonna have to move this. I know because our wheel is in the way. Maybe just a little down and over. Okay. Well, Annie, this is gonna make sense. I'm gonna expand on that because it's a lot of it is these transition points with age, and that's what we're seeing. But we got to get all this background stuff so that we can really understand what vibrationally and energetically we're seeing in hip hop, but also in our own lives. So when you're in this youth phase, this is when you're building your identity. We have seen this week in particular that artists are having to face um, these choices they've made about their identity. When they are a celebrity or an artist um, in the public eye, what happens is they are having to build two identities. They're having to build their own personal identity and the identity of the space where they are a celebrity. This is what really messes up child stars because they are being split between these two identities very early in life. When you hit this 27, so this first transition, you are going through a major shift in your life, and you're shifting from building your identity to now you are having to, because power, get a different, man, I think I've already used all the colors. I need a different color. Oh, here we go. We'll use this one. Power is where your identity that you've built in youth is being tested. And with that testing of your identity, this is where you're building strength in that identity. So now, when you hit like 27, and this goes from 27, and then here is, this is 36 years of age. This is 45. So as you're moving through this power square, it's a testing of your identity. It's a testing of, like, is this who you really are? Is this who you really represent? This is the time where a lot of things will come to light that have to be faced. Hi, Mighty. Thanks for being here. So this is the first, like, shift transition point. To give you just some general examples of this shifting point, they actually have, and I'm sure you all know this already, but they have the 27 Club. And it's all of these artists and celebrities that pass away at 27 years old. And it's from this time that you're shifting into this new space. Okay, Mighty, thanks for coming in and supporting. Appreciate you. So this also, if we go back, so you could Google it. You can come back and tell me who you found. But this is where we have seen artists like disappear. Right around this 27 to 36. In this time period is when Lauryn Hill disappeared. This is when Malice disappeared. This is when, so it's not just death. but it's a death of like identity. It's like a facing of identity that is leading you to need to be moving past it. This is also when D'Angelo, rest in peace, who just passed away recently, um, disappeared from the spotlight as well. So, this time period of when we are making this transition is a really hard one, and it's lasts for at least 9 years. So, on this other side, I would expect that as hip hop is moving from 54, and like this is would be when hip hop is 63, and then this is 72, and then you get back here at 81. I always laugh when I look at this because hey Josh, I'm glad you can make it in between games or during the game. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. But I always laugh that we go around this path, and when you're past 81, then it's like you're childlike again. So you know how it's like old people and babies are like the same. I hope like there's more and more people that are making it past this 81 and aren't in that baby stage. I've been seeing some wonderful 100 plus people. But what happens when you get here is you start creating a new identity. So this is also when like as like my parents age, and as your parents age, or people around you that are older are aging and they're getting past this 81, you could be like, huh, you're a little bit different. You're still you, but you're a little bit different. And it's because they're adding a additional layer to their identity. They're building on their identity again. And so, yes, I didn't expect all of this to come out, but I'm always just trying to let whatever's meant to come out. So what I'm thinking we should look out for is that this point in hip hop, this is the transition, like the tipping point into this transition. Um, but it may be uh, a harder transition point because when in wisdom, hey, I don't. What you talking about? Do I have like weird things happening in the chat again? Am I not seeing messages? Somebody tell me. So this transition point is going to be interesting, I think. And it's going to be related to these wounds. Oh, okay. Okay. I must not have seen them. All right. You all stay on it. Let me know cuz we've been having some weird things happening in the chat where I all of a sudden can't see things. Um so we are going to have this transition point. uh Stop it. Judy and Josh, you all. So this is what is happening with hip hop, and we can use hip hop now as like this example of what we should be looking for. So what we have been seeing a lot this week. Uh I'm sure I was glitching for a lot of times. You just have to keep telling me what the heck is going on because I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep talking. But what it's interesting because what we've been seeing has been very related to this 19. Um, in that hip hop is going through this shift where it's having to face its wounds and clean off this energy so it can be preparing to shift. First, shifting into 2026 energy, that one energy, but then also making the shift into wisdom. Oh, I forgot. I know what I was going to put here. Wisdom is when you're actually, this is where you're like sharing your legacy or you're sharing your identity. It's like you're, yeah, I guess that's the best way of saying it. So this is where you're sharing your identity. This is where you're building legacy. Hey, cousin B, thanks for being here. So what we've been seeing. Hey, Tiff Tiff, thanks for being here. Oh, I appreciate it. So what we're looking at is look at all of the things that we have seen this week of people having to look in the mirror. So that's a message that came out actually for October. So October is operating in this 19 energy. And the word mirror is 91. So there was a message that came out at the beginning of the month that talked about how this mirror was being uncovered and everybody was going to have to face the mirror. And if you think about what you see when you look in a mirror, you see yourself. But it's what the mirror is on how you see yourself and how you work with that energy. So there's been a lot of people in hip hop this week that have had to face the mirror. They've had to look in the mirror and see themselves and what they built as their identity. So, oh, okay, I found a point that almost got lost. I found a point that almost got lost. Um, oh my gosh, I keep seeing people's names, but then not seeing them. What the heck? All right, so anybody that's in here that I have not said hello to, it's because I don't see you. But thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Um, what we're seeing though also is that if you move into this power phase without building a very strong identity, when that identity is being tested, you will begin to crumble. So we've seen this with Labrie, and we've talked about it with him, but we've also seen it with other artists this week. In particular, Tyler the Creator. And he built his identity in one way. And now that identity is being tested and it's making him look back at what he built. I want to know what you're eating, New Beginnings, but I'm not going to ask because then I'll go on a whole different tangent and that won't be good. So when we move into these power phrases, so like when we move along here, because we've been seeing too, like people that are older that are like, why are you acting like that? Why are you crying over your bad decisions, regardless of what age you were? That's when it's people that have now had their identity being tested because they're in this power phase usually. Some of them have moved all the way to wisdom. But if you haven't built a strong identity, if you cannot face the identity that you've built in the mirror, now you're going to go through it. And these celebrities, especially in this hip hop space, they are having to face the mirror and their past decisions um, very starkly in the public eye. Does this all make sense? I'm trying to catch up in the chat. Oh, okay. Thanks, Josh. Okay, good. Okay, good, Raymond. Um, Perfect. Thank you, New Beginnings. So it seems like most of the people that we have been really observing this week have been having to face stuff that has been like at this transition point. So moving from youth into power. And so the things that we do have to be different when you're building your identity versus when your identity is being tested. And one of the strong astrological things that happens at this point is Saturn return. So, and again, any of these things, you could be past this age, but if you have not dealt with this stuff, boy, you are in trouble. You are in trouble because just like we've talked about before, if you are avoiding the healing, now you're just digging a hole for yourself and you're making the healing that you have to do even bigger. You're adding layers on the outside of this wound. It's making a really big scab on this wound, but it's not healed underneath. And so now you got to get through this nasty ass scab and get to the wound to heal it. That's a good question, Josh. Okay. So let me, yeah, let's talk about that. So I'm going to put here to remind myself, and then you can remind me to come back here because you know I'll forget that I want to talk about the Saturn return. Um, this usually happens around like 29 to 31. So we'll come back to that. Let's answer this question because that's a really good question. So what happens is if you everybody has all of these squares. Whoa. My triangle looks I don't like it. I'm sorry. I got to erase it. My brain is going to be really mad at that. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, but it can't be that bad. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. Oh man. Okay, I guess not. I guess I'm redrawing it again. Okay. So, regardless of your life choices, we all have youth box because this is based on age. And as much as we try to stop the aging process, we still are moving around um, these phases. This is guiding where we should be in life. And so, say we're moving around here in youth. So we're moving around. We're supposed to be building our identity, building identity, building identity, right? And then we get to this transition point. And at this transition point, now we are getting tests of our identity. You don't see really in youth, well, we do have like we carry our generational wounds, and usually it's in your youth, unfortunately, when you are being inflicted with wounds and you're inflicting wounds, because that's part of that building identity of how are you going to respond, and does your response inflict a wound on yourself or somebody else. Also, because in most, really all of this, because you're not even you're like 18 right here. So for most of this youth square, we don't have like control of our own environment or our own safety. We can't choose to not be in situations. So a lot of the times your identity is built on wounding in that youth phase. Um, which is horrible. And so then when you get to this transition, now it's testing that identity. Also, it's testing if you're going to keep those wounds or not. So if you come into this power and you have not built your identity, now you're having to do both at the same time. You're having to test your identity while you build your identity, which is a lot harder. So if you think about it as like you're building a home, you're building your safe space. If you are like having to have all kinds of weather come around trying to knock your house down at the same time that you're trying to build your house, it's a lot harder. This is also when you are starting to have to deal with these wounds that you have encountered and picked up in your youth. So now, as you're moving around power, if you are not dealing, again, with anything from your youth, now each phase of power, you're having to have your identity tested as well as build your identity, and you are getting more and more and more of these wounds that you're having to face and be healed. That's why in this phase in particular, where this is where you're 36 to 45, this is why this is like your midlife crisis. This is where people can completely change. And a lot of the times it's because they did not have a strong identity coming out of youth, and they haven't been working on building a strong identity as they've moved into power. This is where you first are like, this load is really freaking heavy, and people start breaking um, around this load. And then again, if you are not dealing with it, now you're going into this last part of the power, and you're hitting this Chiron return, where the Chiron return is all of your wounds. All of your wounds. So now these two paths are like completely covered with wounds. And you are just a hot mess. And you start doing weird shit, like being in your 50s and acting like you're 10. Because as we're doing wound healing, you know what wound needs to be healed because you revert to that age. So if you had a wound back here when you were 10 and you need to heal that wound, you can go back, and if you're behaving like you're 10, you probably have a wound in that time that needs to be healed. So you get here, and this is just like a hot mess. So thinking about hip hop again, where this is where hip hop is right now. And so that's why it's all of these woundings and testing of identity that's coming up. And it's in preparation for getting into wisdom. So Josh, I know your question was about wisdom, but this continues on. So in wisdom, you're supposed to be sharing your identity and building legacy. Our legacies are not built within ourselves, it's built in other people. So when we are able to share our experiences, we're able to teach others, we're able to help other people, we're able to create organizations. That's building of legacy. It's that sharing of identity. It's sharing who you are, your experiences, and your healing of wound experiences. So if you get to this point in wisdom where you are supposed to be sharing your experiences and building your legacy, but you have not been able to test your identity, or your identity has been tested and you have not stepped up to the plate to actually build that identity, and so you haven't built the identity, you haven't tested the identity, how are you going to share it? And then on top of that, now you have all of this wounding. So it's like you have all of these layers that now you have to work through. So the wisdom is there because of your age, but you can't express it. You can't bring it out. And at every moment, you're reverting back to whatever age you were when you were wounded. So that's where, like, in 1 second, like somebody here, they could be acting like a typical 75-year-old, and then all of a sudden start acting wild like they're back here at 34. And then the next second they're back at 10. And then they're throwing a tantrum like they're 2. That shit looks real crazy. Like putting your head down on a chair in the courtroom. That madness. That's what that looks like. And I always told my children, be very observant and watch. Because you make your own decisions for your life. But you're supposed to be watching and observing so that you can learn from either your mentors, you learn from other people, or you learn from your own mistakes. And so I would point out to my children, I'm like, look at that drunk person over there. That's what being drunk looks like. Now you can choose if that's where you want to go, if that looks fun to you and that's what you want to do. Great. No judgment, but know that that's what it looks like. That's the observation. And so we have a very unique opportunity in being in this hip hop space and at this moment in time where we are able to where you can be able to like recognize an example. So we get to we get to watch hip hop as an example for us as we move through these phases ourselves. This is also why we are seeing a particular age bracket doing different things, because we see our legends, we see these hip hop legends coming back out and like putting out some amazing music and doing some amazing things, and other legends that are at the same age like completely crashing out. And that's why, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like really what your age is. Your age is only telling you where you are on this journey. It is not telling you like how many layers you're supposed to be working through. Okay. I gotta catch up on. Josh, let me know if that answers your question, and if there's any other questions that came out from you or for anybody as I was talking about this, or examples. I'm sure you always have, all of you always have amazing examples. So I'm gonna go into the chat and make sure I'm getting everything. Yes. That's wonderful, Raina, that this like you're, because we're put around the people and the experiences and the groups in the right moments in time for us to be able to heal our wounds. That's what the mirror is. And we'll get to that in just a second. Yes. Yes, you did mention that, Annie. Yes. Yes. And like we all face that, but in our own ways, because our own identity, which is built off of our own experiences and who we are and who we have around us, it's all going to be very different. But in generalities, we are going through the same things. They just look different. That's awesome, Judy. Yes. Yes. I love that. Confirmation. I love confirmation. Yeah. Yeah. So Raina, that PTSD, especially now that we know that complex PTSD does exist, which people for a long time haven't understood, that complex PTSD is what is getting passed to us through generations. So especially for like groups of people like African Americans, where we've had generational complex PTSD. So it's been generations that have this trauma that they're carrying. This is very important that we have to recognize, that that is also a set of wounds that we have to work through. But we're meant to really be working through it together. That's why, like with Kendrick Lamar's album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, it's been pivotal for people because people need an example. We need to have these discussions. We need to be working together so that we all can heal these wounds and be able to move forward. Yes. Oh, you guys have such good advice for each other. Oh, hi. Hi, LTFM. I didn't even see you come in until I went back. Oh, and there's Slay Queen, too. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Yes. Yeah. And so Josh, when we think about comfort zones, that's where I always say that when you think of comfort, it's just another vibration that can be, it is neutral. And so it can be a good thing or a bad thing. Because we could have these comfort zones that it's things where it's like, we really shouldn't be comfortable with that. We really shouldn't be. We really shouldn't be comfortable with that. But it's at that moment where we recognize or we start getting uncomfortable with that when we're able to start making those changes and healing those wounds. That's when we see in the mirror the wounds. Yes, Annie, you're very yes. It none of that trauma is a joke. And what's so hard is that um people heal their wounds and they deal with their trauma and healing in different ways. And so it's taken me a long time and I'm still working on it to be able to figure out how to allow people to work through and heal in their own way, and that it doesn't have to be tied to me. Yes, you're very right, Judy, that writing is a really good way of dealing with a lot of this. Yeah. I'm so glad you all are here with me today. This is a really good conversation, and I think really, really important because we've gotten some big, huge examples of all of this in hip hop this week. And you let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about specifically, but we've gotten a lot of examples of this happening. Um, so I'm gonna go back to that Saturn return in just a second, but I want to touch on something um, where we have to know that, like, okay, those wounds are there, and if we're not working on healing those wounds, then we are just letting them pile up and we're creating a thicker layer that we're having to work through. But we have to remember also, so oh, I don't want to use red. So I'm going to draw another one of my stick people. There we are. Do, do, do. There we are. And so I know I've talked about this before, but repetition is good. I like repetition. Um, we have to remember that we are living on two types of time. We have horizontal time, where horizontal time is the time that we are used to. It's like your past and your future, and then this is you in the present moment. And so we can have wounding along this past. And if we aren't dealing with that wounding in the present moment, then that's where we start seeing it all build up in the future. So this is where we actually see those wounds. Oh, I wish I could just give you all a big old hug. I love you, family. Okay. Back. Okay, I'm talking again. I'm talking. But we also are operating on vertical time. And vertical time is this space that's between your it's like I never know what to call it because people put like negative and positive connotations on stuff, which I don't like. But it really is, it's like the amount of light you have in your world, and it's the amount of shadow. And in saying that, we have to remember that we have been fed some very negative connotations about the shadow. But the shadow, like even scientifically, the shadow actually holds the light. So it's it is light. It's just expressed in a different way. Because if you think about it, the bigger the shadow is, the more light you're actually getting. So that's like when you're on stage, or not us, a celebrity or somebody, an artist that you like, is on stage. Why they have to have the lights that go all the way around? Because if they only had one, like a spotlight, now it's a shadow that's super big. And I think about, was what was that on? Was that on Saturday Night Live where Kendrick Lamar was performing, and he had most of the performance was him just standing, and then it was the shadow in the back. So both the light and the shadow are part of who you are, and you're supposed to be balancing and working through that. Um. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, Raina, that's cool. I heard that that was a really good breakdown, and I still need to go look at it. Um, but light, so the actual word light resonates at 56, which is the same as the word healing. So we use the light for healing. So even if we are becoming like more healed, all of this shadow is still part of us. Just like, regardless of how far into the future we go, the past is still part of us. The past still exists. Oh, yeah, you're right, LTFM. It was Rich Spirit. I love that performance. I've watched that so many times. Um, and it's because the vibrations of it are just so cool. So that's like a very cool thing. Like I can actually see the vibrations um, going into the artist and coming out to the audience and interacting with the audience. It's very cool. But that's a really good one. So when we're talking about healing the wounds, it's doing this weird triangulation thing. Um, oh, Flex is. Oh, yeah. Go watch that, Slay Queen, and tell us. I've met. Yeah, Flex is in Vegas. That's awesome. Um, I'm so excited. I gotta go watch that replay. But what we have to do, so say we're trying to heal this wound that's in our past. Say this is that 10-year-old wound. 10 is just coming up, so I guess that's just what we're going to work on. Um, so we have to go back into the past. So just remembering, accepting that this wound is there. And then we have to use our own light. So a higher version of our healed self is what we use to heal ourselves. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool, Judy. Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that. Does this make sense? Because, like, the light, our most healed self, is kind of related to our future self. But we can use that light to help heal our wounds. So, a way to do that is how you all were having the conversation about like writing. So, if you write about the past, so you acknowledge and write about this moment, this wounding in the past. This is also why we need each other, but we also need professionals. This is why we need therapists. Because we need somebody that's outside of that wounding to help us do this a lot of the times, especially when it's very deep wounds. Um, and most all of our wounds are always going to be tied to somebody else. And so disconnecting ourselves from them um, is very hard also. So we need help with that. But we first can like do some journaling about this back place or talk about it, and it's figuring out what works best for you to go past, and then that raises the level of the light that you're allowing to come in. You're taking this out of the dark and allowing the light to come in. And then you have to complete the cycle by talking about the future of what does your future look like in this more healed form. Yes. Yes. And it's interesting that you say that, Josh. So hopefully this makes sense. Let me know what questions you have. Yeah, that's actually a really good like Annie using music, using crying, any of your artistry. And we have some beautiful examples of that in hip hop. So many examples of these artists that are channeling that hurt, those wounds into their artwork. So we have examples of how to do this. We just have to figure out what is working for us, what's going to work for us. And so, along with this, based on Josh be tapped in because Josh be always coming up with these these phrases that are too dead on. It's fun though. So, but make sure whether you're writing, whether you're talking, whether you're crying, whether it's working with a therapist, you have to do it all with intention. The intention has to be to allow the light in so that you can heal. Because if you don't do it with intention, then that's where you keep going around and around in the same circle. So make sure that it's very intentional. You should always have your intention focused on healing. So Josh said that life is a roller coaster, which it is. But this word roller coaster, so again, if we take our little letter chart where A is 1 and Z is 26, then let's see how fast I could do this. We get 18 plus 15 plus 12 plus 12 plus 5 plus 18 plus 3 plus 15 plus 1 plus 19 plus 20 plus 5 plus 18. Woo! I think I beat my record. This tells you how much I do this and what happens in my head. This is what my head looks like. All these words and numbers and phrases rolling around in there. Scary, I know. I just know this one, so you can add it up. But when it adds up, we get 161, which is this interesting portal number and relates to what you were saying earlier, Josh, where it's this interesting portal number where this one energy wants to be together, and so it's spinning because it wants to be next to each other, and it's pushing out this 6 energy, which is about comfort. So on a roller coaster, it's like, oh, I feel comfortable at this spot. And then it drops out from under you and you're no longer comfortable. And then you're questioning your comfort. But also, another phrase that equals this same 161, and you can add this up later if you want to, is the phrase human experience. So it's not just that people say that life is a roller coaster, but it literally is that the phrase and the idea of human experience is the exact same vibration as the word and experience of a roller coaster. That's why it resonates so much. Ta-da! I love this stuff. Yeah. And so when we keep getting those kinds of examples, it's important for us to look at what are these vibrations, and then how does it relate to other words and phrases, because it's never just one thing. And then if we were to take these same words and translate them into another country, but this is also another language, like you could get something completely different. This is why different cultures in their native languages have these different sayings, because it's the vibrations of the language need to resonate the same. So in English, this is why this makes so much sense. But if you were to say this in a different language, it may not make the same. It may not make sense, or not resonate the same. The vibrations wouldn't be the same. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Raina, we're going to get back to that, because that's actually today's date. So we will talk about that. I wasn't sure if we were going to talk about today's date, but we will, since you have brought it up. But before I do that, I want to get back to that Saturn return. Drinking my water. Okay. Oh, there is a crazy rainstorm outside. It is Scorpio season. And you know what that means? It's time to go deep emotionally. Deep, 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 deep. Time to go deep. Yeah. Too many sixes? Oh yeah. But actually sixes are actually really good. But they do they can trigger people, especially when they're sensitive to comfort. So let me see real quick. Oh yeah, I did mention 16 last night. Yeah. Um so I don't know if the tarot goddess is still in here. I always refer to her when it comes to tarot cuz that's um where I'm least comfortable. But 16 is it's the numerical representation of the card the Tower, and the Tower is when um you have been tasked to make some change, but you have refused to make that change. So you have two options. So when you have the Tower, here's the tower that is built. Yeah, there she is. Yes, 16 is the Tower. Thank you so much, Tarot Gothis. Um, oh, it's one of your favorite cards. That I didn't know. So if we have this big tower, you have two options. This tower is going to fall. That is the change that is going to happen. And so you have two options. You have the option to make the change yourself and be part of the demolition team, or pay somebody to be the demolition team. So you get to observe the falling of this tower, or you can refuse to make the change, be stubborn, and act crazy, and stay in the tower and fall with it. So that's actually this vibration of 16, and it starts with the challenging of those comfort zones. Yeah. Yeah, we can't skip all the fives, Judy. We need the fives. We need the fives. We need to make those changes. Well, so what it is, Raina, is like the way I see the world is all numbers. So I actually see letters as numbers. And so I try and uh help you see what I see, because I've learned that working with things at vibrational level is much more powerful and helpful than at the word level, because things get miscommunicated, and different words mean different things to different people, but the vibration doesn't change, and that's the part that's important. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm for real going to find where I wrote. Where is it? Ah, I found it. I learned this new trick on this whiteboard that I use on how to be able to get back to places. There's a little like screen behind where my logo is, where I can go back to different screens, so I don't have to scroll. I think that's exciting. Okay, so we're talking about. Oh my gosh, we got to get back to that too. Man, there's a lot today. Well, a lot happened this week, but in different ways. Like we had a couple of weeks this month where it was just like a big, huge event, and that one event took over like all of the energy. Um, and then we've had like a week like this past week where there's been things that have happened. It's been multiple things that have happened that have dominated the space and made the energy feel very big. So, yeah. I didn't even see your explanation. That's awesome. Yeah. So the tower is a complete crumbling of your foundation, a super big change. Yes, we can talk about race car and we can talk about the date. Oh, yeah. So we'll get to that. Remind me, Josh. We'll get to like how you, if you're able to work with or not able to work with other people in change, because that's more of the mirror stuff. Yeah, I'm glad that helped in getting that process started for you. Okay, so we were talking about this portion of life where we're transitioning from youth to power. So around age 27. And so right after that transition, so from about 29 to 31 is when you have a Saturn return. And so Saturn in our astrological chart, Saturn's energy is very much about structure. It's about discipline, and it's about responsibility. Oh man, I gotta move this down. Yes. So many of you, all my beautiful millennial brothers and sisters, you are so close to this, or you've just passed this, or you're right there. um, when you reach this Saturn return, it's like a returning of this initial energy that's opening your eyes to the responsibilities you need to take in the structuring of your identity. So, if you have built up this identity with a structure, this is one of the first big tests of that identity structure because it's causing you to take responsibility for the identity that you have built. And it's with that taking of responsibility of that identity structure, that's where it can help you build discipline or act a fool. But this is where you're having to begin to take responsibility for the identity structure that you've built in that youth phase, and um, really begin to see, do I need to tear down any parts of this structure? So again, that tower, are there parts of this structure that I need to tear down myself, um, so that I actually have a stronger identity structure, a foundation of my identity as it's being tested? So this is one of those first, so that transition point is really hard because it includes this Saturn return. So we have so you have this Saturn return is here about, well, like in this range here. But what you have like 15 years before this, so like when you're about 15, and then about like 45, is you have a Saturn opposition. So just like with anything else, if we haven't like worked through this, it's still there. Like the energy is still lingering. And so we still have to work on it. But what we have at these purple times is, so the Saturn return is when your Saturn in your astrological chart is at the exact place it was when you were born. So that happens every 30 years. So let me actually go back and put in. So here at 30, and then it's like, I think like about here is 60 is your next Saturn return. So your Saturn return is when your Saturn is in the same location as it was when you were born. Do you want to do you want to actually see hip hop's astrological chart so you can see what this looks like on a chart? Let me know. While you let me know, these other ones in purple at 15 and 45, this is when you have your Saturn opposition. And so this is when Saturn in the current time is directly opposite from Saturn position when you were born. And so when you have a Saturn opposition, you're having to balance between and choose between two different structures or discipline in two different areas. So you have this Saturn return, which is your first one. But when you're 15, I think it's this Saturn opposition that's actually getting most of the teenagers when we have our teenage acting a fool. Because I don't know about you, but 15 was about right when I had my teenage acting a fool moment, which wasn't nearly as bad as other people, but it still exists. But it's when you're having to choose between these two structures. So when you're 15, you're having to choose between the structures of like the adults around you, whether it's your parents or school or your guardians, whoever, and your own identity structure that you're trying to create. So that's that phase right there. Usually at around 45 is when we're having to choose between these structures of like work and life, because we usually have those two separate identities and we're having to balance between them or figure out between them. Okay, I don't see anything in the chat about wanting to see the chart, but let me know if you all see something in the chat about wanting to see the chart. Because you know I can't see shit. But I can definitely pull up hip hop's chart if we want to look at Saturn return. But for hip hop, this would have been, which actually makes sense also, this Saturn return would have been around that 2000, like 2000 to like 2010. So that's where it makes sense, where it's like you're having that identity tested. But we got some great music out of that time too. Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna go get the chart. Let me go find it. I'd be so confused because I don't know what you can see and what you can't see. And okay, okay. So we'll look at hip hop's chart. Let me see. Get it? We'll come in here. We'll see if the whiteboard works today to be able to paste it. Because, sometimes I can paste it, sometimes I can't. And if I can't, then we'll figure out a different way to look at it. But if it can paste in here, then we could actually, oh, see? That's what I was worried about. Oh, it appeared. I guess I just had to be patient. Because at first it wasn't there. So any of those zeros, that's that God energy. That's the universe trying to get your attention. All right, so for hip hop, so we know that Saturn is very much about your areas of responsibility and structure. And then it's based on, so here's Saturn in hip hop's chart. Right here. And so this is Saturn in Cancer. And we were just talking about Cancer energy last night. And how that Cancer energy is highlighted. So this is also why some of these structures within hip hop would be highlighted right now. In the testing of those structures. But so Cancer is all about, this energy of Cancer is all about the energy of the moon, which is the emotions. So it's the structuring of emotions and the structuring of the expression emotions, which makes sense because hip hop is actually really good at putting structure around what is being felt and experienced, which would be moon energy. Because that's what a lot of the hip hop music is it's a structured expression of the emotions. What part? Zeros? Oh, okay. Let me know, Annie, what you mean specifically. Like what the zeros mean. But the other thing we have to look at is we also have to look at what house it's in, because this is the area of life. So the sign tells us the energy that we're working with. So we're working with like this emotion, the moon energy. This also is like the energy of home and family. This is like that nurturing energy. That's all Cancer. But it's in the 5th house. So this is the area of life. And the area of life of the 5th house is like friends and resources. So it's very important for hip hop to have some structure, especially around its emotions in the area of friends and like that outside interaction with other people. But also 5th house is creativity. So again, hip hop naturally has this energy to structure its creativity in order to express its emotions. That's what this Saturn is telling us. And so then when we get to the Saturn return, it's testing that foundation. So in the hip hop space, when a hip hop artist gets to that Saturn return, it's testing, is that structure one that you can take responsibility for. Now you have to take responsibility for how you have creatively expressed your emotions. So if you've been feeling ostracized and bullied from black spaces, and so then you're acting anti black within your creativity and the expression of your structured emotions, now you're having to take responsibility for that. Just an example. Does that make sense? And so then for the opposition, when you have the Saturn opposition, that's where it's Saturn over here in Capricorn. And Capricorn loves it some Saturn because Capricorn is about structure. It is about career and profession. And also money. So when hip hop got to that Saturn opposition, it was needing to balance between the creativity that it was doing and how it was expressing its emotions, if it was doing it for money or for the creativity. So it was money versus creativity. I can't spell, so just ignore that. That's funny, Annie, because my son is Capricorn. uh, but that also shows how like um you can't just use your sun sign. You can't just use your sun sign as like the personality of somebody. It's all of these pieces together. So for hip hop, when it has its Saturn oppositions, it's having to balance between the creativity and the money, the structure of money, the structure of friends versus the structure of like the outside society world, because that's this 11th house. It's okay, Andy. I just thought it was funny. Because a lot of people say that. A lot of people have a hard time with Capricorn. But again, it's because we're not using a person's whole chart. Because you can have a Capricorn sun, like I do, but that's just the way you think. But like my moon is Libra. So my moon is about justice and balance and fairness. But then my rising is Cancer. So the first impression that I give is nurturing. Another interesting thing here is having Saturn in Cancer, where Saturn is seen as the father energy, and Cancer and the moon is seen as mother energy. So hip hop has this energy of like the mommy daddy. I mean, that's what I had my kids call me. Single mom. You get to be the mommy daddy. You're both. It's all good. We need all of these energies. And this is really why I came to YouTube and started trying to um, share this knowledge, because we cannot, no longer can we only use one vibration to um, understand ourselves, understand other people, understand our interactions with other people or the world. We have to understand the complexity of these vibrations. Okay, I like that we saw the chart because that was interesting. Okay, so I know, Raina, you had a date and I think something else. So go ahead and put that back in the chat. Annie, you could go ahead and put your numbers back in the chat so I can make sure to get to them. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get back to this mirror discussion. So I wanted to bring up this Saturn opposition with the Saturn return because this is these opposites that are pulling you in directions and requiring that you have some kind of balance between the two. And that's actually what's happening when we're working with a mirror. So these mirrors, they can be a person, they could be within yourself. So this could be like your past self, could be the mirror. This could be a group. This could be even just like a society standard. There's all kinds of stuff that could be this mirror. But what is happening is the mirror is showing us. So here we are. And here's our mirror. Again, this could be another person. This could be whatever. It could be our own past. It could be whatever. Oh, Raina, you all are hilarious. Uh, oh gosh. Okay. Again, stop just using the sun sign because I can pretty much guarantee to you that there is a man out there that you don't realize is a Libra sun, and it's because of all of the other um, planets and their life path number and their name. Like it's all of those vibrations together that can make it different. So we're getting this reflection in this mirror. So let's see. Let's get another color. We'll do red here. So we get the reflection of ourself. So when we encounter other people and we super like them, usually what that is that they're showing us a piece of us that we like. Yay! This is the yay thing. We see the yay in you because it matches the yay in me. But this is where we get caught up in those comfort zones again. And this is where a lot of the discrimination comes from because we are wanting to be around people that remind us of ourselves most often because it's comfortable. So, like if we're a hiring manager, this is what's been happening throughout time. So, a white man that is a hiring manager is more likely to hire another white man for the position only because he reminds him of himself. When you are from a marginalized population, so whether it's by your race, you're some shade of brown, whether it's your class, where you've come from, you know, a usually poor or even middle class dealing with upper class, um, you're a woman or you're a combination of those things where you've experienced this kind of discrimination. Now we're more observant of not wanting to do that to somebody else. So that's seeing that mirror and making sure we're not doing it. But if you see this in another person and you're like, yay, this is great, you can miss the other parts that aren't so good. So then after a while, so you see this person and you're initially like, yay, I like what I see. You remind me of this wonderful part of myself. And then later on, they are reflecting to you this other part of themselves that you have also. So this is your head wound. Oh, wow. Why is it a head wound? I be getting some of these examples. I'm like, where the heck did that come from and why? But anyway, we see this. So this could be a past trauma of ourselves, but we see a reflection of it in this other person. And so now all of a sudden we could say, nope, don't like you because I'm not trying to deal with my head wound. So I'm going to act like I don't see your head wound, or I'm going to completely reject you because of the head wound you have and you're showing me. You're right, Josh. That was my first lesson. At least three. At least three. You always should have at least 3 points of evidence for anything and everything, including why you do not like somebody or why you do like somebody. If you do not have those, then you can't say it. And you shouldn't believe it. So, at least 3 planets, at least 3 positions in the astrology. Or you could have the sun sign, the life path number, and the name. That's at least 3 vibrations. That's what Josh is talking about. I prefer the life path number, the name, the sun, the moon, and the rising. So those 5 points are what I like to see. Hey, I am getting all of the signs that it needs to happen. So class may be in session sooner than we think. Yeah. Yes. Hello, Rusty. That's a wonderful way to come in. Wonderful comment for entering the chat. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. So yeah, so when we have experiencing these wounds, we see this reflection in somebody else if it's rubbing you the wrong way. So when you get around somebody and you just don't like them, like they just really get on your nerves, it's usually, and I say usually because you can't like make a full generalization of like always, but it's usually because they are showing us a wound that we need to heal within ourselves. Yeah, you're right, Josh. It does. I think it is my very first video. And my first live. And almost every live that I have, I think I repeat that. So that's where this mirror is coming from. Where it's coming from how we see these wounds that we're having to hear. It's actually from outside of us. we're seeing it as a mirror. We don't necessarily see it in ourselves. Like we can't see. It's like trying to um like trying to do your hair without a mirror. Good luck with that. And so, to Josh's kind of question statement earlier about working with other people on healing your wounds, a lot of times, if both people are not, because if, all right, so let's back up. So if this person that is acting as a mirror is showing you a wound that you have to deal with, you're actually doing the same thing back to them. So you're both seeing the reflection of this wound that needs to heal. This is usually why we are attracted to people, whether it's friendship, family, romantic relationships, it doesn't matter. We're usually encountering people that are carrying a lot of the same wounds we are. Even if it's not from the same experiences, it could still be a similar wound. And so the only way that you can actually work with this person as a reflection to heal this wound is if you both are wanting to heal this wound together. So like when we come in here and I say, I've had this experience and I'm trying to work through it. I'm trying to heal that wound. And you all say in the chat, oh yeah, I've had something similar. Oh yeah, I've gone through that also. That's two willing people or a group of people that are all willing to work on that wound together. But you cannot heal wounds with somebody that does not want to heal their own wound. I will say it again. You cannot heal wounds with somebody that does not want to heal their own wound. So when there are these groups, and again, we'll use hip hop as an example since it's our hip hop day. When there's groups of people that walk around and act like they don't see the truth that we see, that is them telling you that they do not want to heal that wound. They don't want to heal that wound by not seeing that wound. It's like they're looking at the mirror and they're shutting their eyes and they're shutting their ears and they are refusing to see that the wound even exists. When they are making excuses for the wound instead of taking responsibility for the wound, they are creating pretty patches that they are putting over it so that they don't have to see it. And if you are continuously telling them, but look, you are the reflection they don't want to see, and that's why they lash out at you. When you do not want to see the reflection in the mirror, you do a couple of things, but the two that we know the best is you either lash out at the reflection, and that can even be at yourself if you're reflecting to yourself, but also you can face away from the mirror, and so then you are projecting out. And that's projection. Projection is when you see the wound and you're pointing at the wound in somebody else, but you're not looking at the reflection to know that that wound is actually in yourself or is also in yourself. So, if you are in a situation where you have a wound to heal, but the other person just keeps lashing out, projecting, is refusing to see that wound and will not heal with you, you have to take responsibility for your own peace, your own healing, your own well being, and separate yourself from them. Make the decision that the reflection that they are showing you is the lesson that you need to learn, but you cannot learn it or heal it with them. And that's super hard, especially when it's somebody that you have been in close contact with for a very long time, somebody that's in your family, somebody that you have a deep connection with and that you love. When they are inhibiting you from healing, that's when you need to find a new space. And with intention, you find a new space, a new set of people, a new therapist, a new support group to be able to do your own healing and conduct healing with other people in that space. Because you can't force other people to heal. If they're refusing, they're not going to do it. And they're not going to see it. But that's also what looks so weird when people have been refusing to see this wound and it looks all crazy, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I see it now. But even then, when they do see that wound and they are starting on this healing journey, you still have to be cautious about being around them, because they could try and go backwards. Because we all know it's when you first see it that you wish you were ignorant again. Like that moment of like, damn it, I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. I want to unsee it. Maybe I can just act like I don't see it. And you're like, damn it, I still see it. I still see it. I still see it. But when you accept that you see it, that's when you can begin to heal it. But you can't force that on people. You can't force that healing on people. Okay, I think I'm done with that tangent. Let me get to the chat and make sure I'm caught up on what you were saying. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Rusty. Like, it's those that um are the most challenging that can give us the best healing, but that does not mean we have to work with them for that healing. We could still separate ourselves from them. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Raina, you're right. It's the personality mirror effect. I've heard of that before. That's cool. I like it when things, like exist outside of just what I'm saying. Cuz then that's confirmation for me, cuz a lot of this I don't know why I know or why I'm getting this information, but I know I'm supposed to be saying it. So, yes, exactly, Judy, because that is projection. So when somebody else is blaming you for their wound, even if you've inflicted it on them, it could be your fault that they have a wound, because we can inflict wounds on it, but the healing of that wound is totally their responsibility. That's why we get to a point where, regardless of how horrible your parents are, or how horrible you have been as a parent, you can't heal your children. You could take responsibility for the wound you've inflicted, and that goes towards your own healing, but they have to choose their own healing. And you have to accept whatever they choose as their healing. which sucks, but is true. Okay, okay, okay. Wow, you guys have some really good information. Yes, 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 yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so another good point is that there are things that can cloud the mirror also. Um, so things like fear, um, like jealousy, and like any of those, pick your poison. All of those things cloud the mirror. And we talked about yesterday how that three eye atlas was behind the sun. And so it was no longer making a clear image of the mirror for us, like just that vibration, that energy. So there are times where we cannot see the mirror clearly, but we need to know that it's there. Because sometimes what we're meant to do is just not act upon what we're seeing. If we know we're a little delulu right now, which is hard to know, then we have to just make sure that we're not acting upon it. Or if we do, that we are prepared to take responsibility for whatever came from that. Yes, exactly. You're like you are attracting the same energy which comes through people. But remember, this comes on the positive side too. Um oh yeah, I know when I'm delulu. I know when I am. But that's part of our learning and healing, is to begin to know yourself well enough to know when you're delulu. um but this also is a positive thing where we can, so here we are again, and say, let's put this mirror is up here. This mirror is closer to like where we want to be. So remember, this is vertical time. So this is like your healed self. So we can have, oh, I kind of like that that's a cross. We can have people that are reflecting to us who we would like to be. And we can use that reflection as an example for our healing, as a way to help us to heal. Because those people come in as well. But it's only when you're ready. It's only when you're ready. And like, I have to keep telling myself that I need to have this space, that I want to build this space where people can come in and learn and heal and discuss these vibrations in a way that helps them to heal. But I don't want to create that space where people are coming in too soon. I want everybody to know that they're welcome to come in, but that they don't have to take in this stuff until they're ready. And sometimes just listening to it is all they need. So that's what I want to continue to do. But we have, so like, for example, in hip hop, where we have people, we have other artists that are saying, oh, Kendrick Lamar's album, Mr. Morale, where he completely exposed all of his wounds, but also the healing process. Like, you go through that whole album, and the whole album is like one therapy session after another, where you see him going through this process of identifying, taking responsibility for his wounds, and working to heal the wounds. And other artists have been able to say, oh, I would like to do that also. But we can tell. We can tell if you're not being authentic. Anybody that is on this healing journey, we can very much tell when somebody is not being authentic in their healing as well. But we need to know it goes the other way. So if somebody you know is on a healing journey and has done a lot of work, and you trust that their healing has really been that, and you can kind of tell because those are people that are not like somebody on a healing journey is much less judgmental. I won't say that they're not judgmental, but they're much less judgmental than others, because being judgmental is a form of projection. So if somebody comes to you that you know is on this healing journey and is in an authentic place where they're coming to you not as in judgment, but in pointing out to you that you had, like, your wound is showing, that thing stinks. Hey friend, I love you so much, but your wound smells. You might need to clean that up. Then that can be an example of one of these mirrors that's actually contributing to our healing. So these mirrors in vibration are happening all the time. Every single person we encounter, whether it's for 2 seconds, a stranger on the street, or these deep relationships that we have over time, acts as a mirror. But we also act as a mirror to them. So Annie, to your point about your mother-in-law, my mother was and is someone that I have a lot of tension with. And I have learned as I have grown and as I've had my own daughters that it is this back and forth of reflection, that she sees in me some of her wounds that she does not want to heal. Because usually people that we would label as narcissistic or that have been diagnosed as a narcissist, they have the deepest trauma. They have the deepest wounds. So they've had to put on the biggest mask to not deal with those wounds. And there are times that we can't completely distance ourselves from people. So we have to come up with ways of interacting without being impacted. Protect your peace is how I like to look at it. Yeah, you're right, Rusty. Oh, welcome back, New Beginnings. Hello again. Hopefully your meal was good. It's good to see you. Yeah, but if every time there is a mirror encounter, we can think about how can we use this? And it's with intention. What are the intentions that you can be able to put in place to actually use it for your healing and your greater good? Yes. Yes, you're very right, Raina. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You're very right. So this is the mirroring that we're seeing. But remember that This is all coming from this energy of October. Like this whole discussion of mirrors came from um, talking about and thinking about this energy of October. And October is practice for 2026. So we won't experience it as compacted again. It'll be stretched out, but we need to be prepared to see and recognize these experiences of a mirror to be able to go through our healing. The other place that, oh, I got the hiccup, excuse me. The other place that this is coming from, let me get some water because I feel them. They're like my hiccups are right down in here. But and you probably can't hear them, but I can feel them. It feels weird. Oh, that's so cool, New Beginnings. Oh, is he gonna have it on replay? Cause I want to see. I want to watch. That's awesome. Um, the other place this is coming from, and we've talked about this a little bit also, is that we have this aspect in the sky right now. Let me see. Let me see if I actually have a picture of it, or I could get a picture of it so I could paste it in because that would be easier. I think I have it from September. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I found it. So this is not right now, but I'll explain. I'll explain. Oh, why did it make that dot? So what we have right now is in our skies. And we talked about yesterday how we had comets and three eye atlas and all of these things that are also in our sky that are like disrupting some of this um, astrological geometry. So it's adding to and changing some of the vibrations we're experiencing. But this one, this triangle on this side, well, first of all, you can see that it's a mirror image. These two are mirroring each other. And this was back in September. So it's not this strong anymore. But this is actually from September 11th. So think about all the mirrors we saw then. But this is, so right here is Pluto, which is the planet of transformation. It is in the sign of Aquarius, which is the sign for the people. And then we have over here, we have Uranus, or if you want a good giggle, you could say Uranus. And it's in the sign of Gemini, which is communication. And then here we actually have both Saturn, which we've already talked about, which was like the structure and responsibility. And we have Neptune, which is the planet of dreams, illusion, and delusion. So we have these energies working together to create this mirror. And this, I'm bringing this up because this is going to be around. I think we have this for at least a year and a half. So we definitely will have this as we move into 2026. Because all of these planets have just moved into these positions. Oh, and Saturn and Neptune, they are in the sign of Aries, which is the sign of I am. It's the sign that represents your core identity. So this is where a lot of this energy is coming from. It's creating this mirror. And over here is where we have a lot of our personal planets. So all of these planets are considered like generational planets because they impact us as a generation or as a group. But it's creating a mirror for our personal planets where we have like so Mars is a personal planet, the sun is a personal planet, Mercury is a personal planet, Venus is a personal planet. Those are all the personal planets. Jupiter is a generational planet, but it's in here also. It's like enhancing all of this. So this is where some of that mirror energy is coming from also. So you'll hear me talk about this more again. But you can see all of the themes that we've been talking about. Transformation and a mirror and miscommunication and communication and structure and responsibility and dreams and visions and illusion and identity. It's all sitting here in the astrology also. So we definitely have a weaving of these vibrations that are bringing this all together. Okay, so here we go. We need to get to, all right, so I'm going to, do I want to stay up here? Let me go here and go to a completely clean page. There we go. So I want to first, I think, talking about Annie's zeros will be a faster conversation, and then we'll get to Raina and talk about race car and today's date. If there's any other numbers or anything, let me know. Okay. So, Annie, you have been saying that you've been seeing numbers like 300, 500, 600, where it's been, what in the world was that? That was crazy. And it actually scared the shit out of me, too. Anyway, so the zero is what we would consider it's universe energy or God energy. And it's the only energy that we cannot control. So it's the only vibration that we can't control. We control vibration with our intention, our actions, and our thoughts. That's how we shape and use vibration. So this universal God energy, we don't have any control over it. And so what it's actually doing is it's coming in. So when you're seeing numbers like this with a lot of zeros, it's first of all, it's telling you that you have a message that's really important, that's directly from God. However you see God, if you see it as the universe, as you see it as goddess, you see it as multiple deities, it's all the same vibration, whatever that higher power is. And when it's in this position, it's enhancing this next number. So it's all of this God energy being pumped into this next vibration. So it's enhancing that because it wants you to see this. So it wants you to see that there's a lot of energy that needs to go into, like 6 is comfort. So there's a lot of energy that needs to go into establishing a new comfort zone. So it's getting rid of the comfort zones that do not belong there, and it's building up this new comfort zone. A lot of times also, when you're seeing a lot of the zeros, it's letting you know that you're on the right path. And you're on the right path because God is supporting you. You have God's support. So it's like you're being told that the changes you're making are on the right path. You're on the right path and you have God's support in that. More energy is being pumped into that to be able to make that happen. If it's just straight zeros, like a lot of zeros, again, that's a lot of confirmation. So what you do is exactly what you do when you're seeing repeating numbers, is that you have to document what are you doing, what are you thinking, what are you, who are you talking with, like what's happening around you at the moment that you are seeing those numbers. And this is literally the universe. This is the universe giving you confirmation. These zeros really are big time confirmation because it enhances all the other vibrations that are around it. It also, if you see it where, because I know sometimes I see where there's one number, like it's 1, and then there's like 3 zeros, and then it's like 5. So these, in this case, these zeros, this God energy, it's enhancing the new beginning. It's giving you support and confirmation for this new energy that's coming in. It's saying this is the right path to go to this new. And by helping you, it diminishes or lessens the blow of this one. So it's making this change easier to happen. So if you see it this way, any of the vibrations that are to the right, it is like it's like patting them, it's like making it softer. And if it's to the left, then it's enhancing it. That also, we've seen these zeros before in hip hop with Kendrick Lamar's name, which is a strong vibration of who he is, but with this 120, where, because his name resonates at 120. And so this God energy is coming in and it's supporting and enhancing and confirming the change in perspective that he's bringing into the hip hop space and into the world. But mostly the hip hop space because this is his artist name. Does that answer your question? Does that help, Annie? Because I know you were saying that you were having trouble like knowing what to do. So a lot of times just seeing those zeros, it's take it as confirmation, but you really have to recognize what were you thinking about, what were you doing, who was around you, who you were talking to when you were seeing those vibrations. Okay, so you're mostly driving when you're seeing the zeros? So it's telling you that, like, all right, if you're driving, the actions, the movement that you're making is right. That's the confirmation for you. That the moves that you're making, because when we're driving, that's what we're doing, is we're making these moves. The movement is, you're getting confirmation for that. And if we look at the word driving, you're welcome, Annie. If you look at the word driving, this is where we can get more vibrations to help understand. So this would be 4 plus 18 plus 9 plus 22 plus 9 plus 14 plus 7. And I just did the math on my calculator here. So this is 83, which is the vibration of the word wisdom. So the wisdom that you're moving into, um, the things that you're doing, the movement that you're making to try and seek out wisdom, you're on the right path. Okay, cool. I'm glad that that's helping. And thank you, chat, for also giving encouragement and words of advice. Um, I read through it. Yep, and now we got race car. You're right, Josh. um, yeah, you're giving some amazing advice. So please continue to do that as well. Okay. So yes, we've talked about driving. So now let's move on and let's talk about this word race car. And what is this? Is this a palindrome? Is that what it's called? Where it's the same forwards and backwards? I think that's what it's called. Palindrome. I work with numbers. I don't work with words, so I think that's what it's called. But all right, so let's do this calculation. So, Raina, whenever you have these words or um phrases or lyrics, a lot of times it's lyrics for me, where I'll get, like, I don't get like a song stuck in my head, I'll get like a lyric stuck in my head where it'll just keep repeating. um we can look at the vibrations of that by getting these numbers associated with the letters. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Tarot Gothis. Good. Palindrome. Look, I'm smart. Look, Mom, I'm smart. And so in English, we would use A is 1, and then Z all the way to Z is 26. And we get all of the letters in between there. I'm putting a chart together for you all. So then soon we'll have a chart that you could just use. Um, so knowing that R is 18, A is 1, C is 3, um, E is 5, C is 3, A is 1, um, and R is 18. So first of all, I wanted to write this out because palindromes like this, um, but not just palindromes, but any word that starts and ends with the same letter, it is creating a portal. So it's one of these vibrations that can feel, it can make you feel weird sometimes because it's creating a portal. And these portals can draw things in or pull things out, and sometimes both. And we know it's creating a portal because any of these vibrations that are the same, they would prefer to be together. So, like these 18s want to be together, these ones want to be together. These threes want to be together. And what's coming through this portal is everybody's favorite five because it keeps coming out. And five is change. So it is like these vibrations are spinning around this and they're pushing through this vibration of change. So let's add this up and we can also see what's happening there. Oh my gosh, I have too much going on here. I'm trying to be all fancy and, try and be fancy and like I know what I'm doing. It messes stuff up. Hey, Hestia! I'm so I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. Okay. I get all excited when people come in. Especially new people. It makes me excited. All right, I'm adding here. 18 plus 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 1. It's amazing that we get through so much when I get so distracted so easily. It must be meant to be. So when we add this up, we get 49. So there's that 9 again. So this portal that is being created. Hey, Tiptoe Joe, thanks for being here. It's good to see you. Come on now, Judy. You know those fives love you. Those fives love you. So we have this 49. And so this vibration of this word race car, it's resonating at 49 while it's also like creating this crazy portal for change. Um and so this 9 is really trying to get something to end. This definitely feels like an ending. So pay attention. So if this is the word that keeps coming up for you, Raina, you want to pay attention to when and where this word is coming to mind. Who are you talking to? What are you thinking about? Because that's going to give you a direct connection to where you need to apply these vibrations. So something needs to end. Something needs to come to a completion. It feels like something is at completion and you might not be letting it be done. But it needs to end and come to a completion so then you can focus on this foundation. Because the 4 is stability and foundation. So by allowing this to end, using this vibration of 9 for it to end. And right now, we've just talked about it. We've got a ton of 9 vibrations um, that you can actually use to be able to like contribute to what you need. Judy, that's funny. um, but you're using this ending vibration to really recognize some changes that need to happen, because there's that change again. There's some change that needs to happen in the area of stability or foundation. And it's not just a change, but it's the biggest change you could make, because this 13 is transformation. So it's such a big change that you cannot go back from it. So, need to recognize that. But this change, this huge change, needs to happen so that you can get to this new place of stability and foundation. Great. Oh, good. Good, 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 good. I'm glad that's confirmation. So, this is how we work with any of these words and phrases. Because it's interesting how the same word in a different moment in time to a different person, you wouldn't even hear it. You wouldn't even recognize that it was there. But for somebody that needs those vibrations and needs the message from those vibrations, actually gets this very strongly. So then let's look at today's date. And I did see, Raina, that you talked about some of this, like these ones. That's related to this too. So if you're seeing a lot of ones, it's this one that's part of that transformation. So it's this one energy. A lot of people are seeing ones right now because it's just around us in October, especially. And as we move into 2026, we're going to get a lot of one energy dumping into our spaces. So we need to be using this month, figuring out how to work with that new energy in intentional ways. We need to make goals and set vibrations to be used in different ways. Oh, I'm so glad this is helping and that this is confirming for you. Thank you, Rusty and Judy, for working with Annie. Ah, yep. Oh, good, Josh. Good. So it's all coming together. Wow. Find yourself. Yep. Good. Good, 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 good. Wonderful. But let's look at today's date, because that was coming up for you also, Raina, right? Okay. So let's look at today's date. So when we're looking at a date, so the first thing we can see is if we don't write 2025 here, we have these two 25s sitting next to each other, which is just like any of those repeating numbers that we see. It's that energy is being amplified. And this is 7. That's where your sevens are coming from. That 7 energy. And 7 is all about taking action but in flow. So with 25 going to our 7, 7 really is about taking action in flow, which means that you're in vibrational flow. And how you get into vibrational flow is based on the number that this 7 has come from or is working with. So in this case, it's the 25. And so this is saying to be able to get into that vibrational flow, you first have a change that needs to be made in order for you to find a new place to be that's outside of duality. So what this means is typically we think, oh, we need to balance between these two options or these two choices or these two extremes. That balancing is an 11. And we actually are in a time right now where it's really important for us to stop trying to balance between these two things and actually get to a 2, where a 2 is recognizing the parts of each of those options or extremes that are bad for you, that are not helping you reach your greatest good, and getting rid of it, while at the same time looking and finding what is working for you or what will help you on your healing journey and combining that together. And so then that's what the 2 is. The 2 is this new way of being, this new way of thinking, whatever it is, it's taking from both of these options and creating something brand new, where it's not making a decision between them, but it's making something brand new. So I don't know why that needed to come out, but that certainly is the first part of this message. But then with the date itself, we have a couple of calculations we need to do. So we first do the year calculation, where we add up the digits of the year, and we use the whole year. Please don't pass out. don't pass out. I'm glad it's accurate and it's helping, but don't pass out. Most people that are here and are here regularly can tell you that we usually stumble upon these truths that make us want to pass out because it's so true. Oh my gosh. Oh, Hestia, I'm so glad. Welcome. Most of us here are koala-holics. Either we were and got here because of koala tea, or we got to koala tea from here. Mostly the other way. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So we first add up this year, and so we get 9. And then we have to add the month, and we add the day. And this gives us the overall vibration of the day. This is general for all of us. Okay, I'm going to tell you why I'm laughing in a minute. But this adds up to 44. So the overall vibration of the day is 44. And we just talked about your 49, where it was focusing in on the stability and the foundation of the 4. So there's your 4s again. That's why those went together. But also this vibration of 44 is it's really about getting to the 8, where it's this energy that's coming back around. So this 44 is letting you know that getting to that place of foundation and stability with that 49 is so important, because this energy will come back around. It will come back around to you. And so you need to be prepared for that. So you have to be very intentional, especially today in this vibration, as to what choices you're making to be able to find a place outside of duality so the actions you're taking are actually in flow. So that's for you specifically, Raina. I was laughing about this because I kept having the number 44 come up and being told I needed to talk about it today, and I was like, I don't want to. That's that Capricorn coming out, that Capricorn sun. I was like, no, that doesn't sound fun to talk about. But the reason I needed to talk about it was to talk about how every vibration is neutral. Ooh, let me get some water. That's me getting choked up because I was stubborn. You notice that only happens when I say something out of pocket. Mm. So, every vibration is neutral. So, if this is the vibration of 44, when I say that it's neutral, it means that it can resonate in a bunch of different ways. People experience this vibration of 44 very differently based on their own perspective. And so 44 is the vibration of the word hope. So experiencing 44 can bring a sense of hope. It also is the representation of faith. So the vibrational representation of faith. And so then it also is a vibrational representation of karma. And it's a representation of the word space. And there was another one I think I just wrote down when I was like refusing to talk about it. Let me see if I can find it. If I can't find it, it's not meant to be. But, you know, the universe will probably have me find it. But I think I wrote it down. Maybe not. I might not have written it down because I was being stubborn. I'm not seeing it in today's pages. Okay. But, so these vibrations can be taken in a bunch of different ways just based off of your perspective. So right now, 44, so you can intentionally use this energy of today, or all of us. This is really for all of us because 44 is the vibration of the day today. And so we can take this vibration of 44 and we can really make it about hope and having hope, and using it for hope. But some people could also be looking at today and be like, ugh, karma's hitting me. And that could be a different way of experiencing this vibration. Okay. I think that's it. All right. What other numbers, questions, hip hop related stuff would you like to talk about? I think I got a few more minutes in me. While you think if there's anything else and put it into the chat, I will catch up on chat. I hope that's a good thing, Raina. That your breath has been taken away and that you're blown away. And welcome to the Vibrant Numerals Lives. Uh, I think myself included, we always are very surprised at the messages that are coming through from the universe here. And it's really cool to be able to experience it with everybody together. And we have messages that are coming from all over, from different people and places. Very cool. Okay, so anything else, let me know in the chat. Ooh, I've been on here a long time. I gotta stop saying that because you know what? My lives are tending to be like 2 to 4 hours, and that's just our becoming our usual. Like yesterday was actually really short, which is funny, by the way, because yesterday's live, like if you look at the recording, it's 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 22 seconds long. And I just earlier this week, I put out those vibrational meditations on 141. And that's how I ended the stream yesterday. So that was funny. Uh, okay. All right, you have it your discussion. I'm not gonna get into that. You do your thing. You do your thing. Okay. 53. Okay. Thanks, Judy. Thanks for confirmation. That's awesome, Hestia. That's like, yeah. Kendrick Lamar opened up so many people's vibrational fields. And we could talk a lot about that. Oh, yes, Josh. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Because he is like the quintessential example of having your identity tested and needing to take responsibility for your past. This is great. Okay, so let's talk about 53. Um, and then we will get our random number. I love that. I love that, Hestia. Like, yeah, it's been incredible, like being able to be part of this. I was just saying earlier how we are actually very lucky that we get to be part of not just history but hip hop history, even as just a fan and as an observer of the culture. We all get to be part of it, and so we need to make sure that we are documenting everything. So making sure that you are recording or writing about your experiences in the hip hop space and with the GNX album. Because this is historical and we need to document it. Especially right now where we have um, so many powers that be that are trying to mute the voices and cover up history. We want to make sure it's documented in so many places that at least one place survives. Okay, so 53. So we talked a little bit about 53 as an age. Um, I don't honestly, Annie, I don't know what my I don't know what my Discord handle is. I don't know what it is. When I find it, what I will do is I'll get it to you somehow. I do have in like my description how you can find me there. Um but I think you could definitely find me in Koala's Discord. I know we've talked there before. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We're figuring all this out. So 53 we talked about as a pivotal time right before we get to that transition point of age 54. Let me see if I can find one of our pictures here. Whoa. I don't know if I like this now. It's kind of creeping me out. Okay, here we go. So right before we get to 54 is when we're making this transition from power to wisdom. So at the age 53, it's really when it's amplifying your need to heal as many wounds as you can to really come to a place where you are accepting all of your past experiences that have made you who you are and healing it so that you can strengthen that identity. So as you move into this wisdom square, you're able to begin to share that identity and add to your legacy. So our identity ourselves is our legacy. So our legacy building actually begins at the time of our birth. But it's in the wisdom phase after you're 54 that you really are meant to be sharing the identity so the legacy can build in others. So as we're building our identity, we are building up our legacy within ourselves. When we get to this wisdom phrase, we're meant to build the legacy in others around us because that's what makes the legacy lasting. So we can build a legacy of our identity of who we are, but if who we are does not highly impact people outside, now the legacy is not lasting. It makes me think of that movie, that cartoon movie that I love, Coco. Is that what it is? I think it's Coco, where if you are forgotten by everybody, now you disappear. So you need to be remembered by somebody. Somebody needs to remember you. That's what legacy is. So you're building identity, legacy within, and then you're sharing it without. And so 53 is right before that age 53 is right before you begin to move into that wisdom phase at 54, where you are needing to share out your legacy or share out your identity and build your legacy. Now, this can be distorted, where we've had lots of conversations in hip hop recently about people destroying their legacy. And it's because they have not built up a strong foundation of identity. You first have to build up identity really strong within yourself, who you are, what you represent, and you have to be very authentic about that. So then when you go to share it, it's authentic and it's strong, and you're able to build the legacy around it. Because all of these vibrations are neutral. So legacy can be a negative thing. You can have a negative legacy. We know lots of people throughout history that have a negative connotation to their legacy. But it's all based on identity. You could also have these split legacies where part of your legacy you're remembered in some ways in a bad way and some ways in a good way. But that's still part of your identity, who you are, and your legacy. So I didn't intend to say all that, but I guess that needed to come out around age 53. So it's because also that's where hip hop is. Hip hop just turned 52. So it's also moving into this place where it's having to really secure up its identity so that it can build its outside legacy. Yeah, exactly, Josh. Exactly. Oh, so much love. So much thanks. So much gratitude. Oh my gosh. Okay, okay. Let me not get distracted. Let me not get distracted because I like being in the chat with you all. All right, so back to this number, vibration 53. So when you are seeing and experiencing 53, this vibration, it's really about, first step is about growth, but it's because this is the first step, it's really making sure that you're examining in which direction are you growing. Because all of these vibrations are neutral. You could grow in any direction. Like you could grow by building a tower, or you could grow by digging a hole. You just get, you're growing deeper, I guess. I don't know. So the first thing is growth, and it is examining your areas of growth. And this growth is necessary because the second step is change. Here we have that 5 again coming back into our world. So we're needing to examine how we're growing and where we grew and in what direction we want to grow, because that growth is going to impact the changes that are coming into our lives. And that growth and change together is it's getting us to a brand new cycle of energy, where we already saw with 44 that this 8 is karma, it's hope. That's also why I guess I had to talk about this. It's faith. So the growth and the change is really meant to create this energy that's going to keep coming back to you. And so you want to make sure that that energy that's coming back to you is something that is going to be helpful for you. And that also relates to building your legacy and sharing out your legacy. Because what you're sharing out as your identity comes back to you as legacy. That was a good number. Woohoo! Oh, you're welcome, Raina. I'm so glad you made it today. I'm glad all of you made it today. I'm glad you all made it every day. Every time we go live. It's so exciting. Okay, I think we are ready for our random number of the week. I think so. I think so. Yep. I'm not feeling any other messages coming through, so I guess this is what it is. So, for those of you that are new, and for those of you that are not new, we don't say the O word around here. um, we always spin our random number wheel so that we can have a vibration to kind of look for or pay attention to throughout the week. And it's more just for practice, so that we can get practice recognizing when we're getting these messages through vibration in the form of numbers and words, and even themes, so we can begin to use them in more dynamic ways, because these vibrations are very complex, and so we want to learn and continue to learn about them so that we can use them. Thanks, Judy. Those, all of the day ones. Are, does a day 0 exist? or a day negative. Okay. I'm not gonna let my brain go there. All right. We're gonna spin the wheel. We're gonna spin the wheel. We're gonna spin the wheel. Okay, let me go over here to this other screen. So we got 19 last week. I don't know what this is. What in the world? Okay, there we go. I was getting some crazy ad. Are you all getting crazy ads? I'm getting crazy ads everywhere. Like YouTube always had some crazy ads, but I'm getting really weird ads. Like, why am I getting this? But anyway. All right, are we ready? I think it's time to spin the wheel. Spin the wheel. Here we go. We're spinning the wheel. Woohoo! I love this wheel, and I know I say that every week, but I do. This wheel is so much fun. 355. Woohoo! All right, so let me get back over here to the board. I'm getting really good at this. Maneuvering between screens. Yesterday, I took us to space. This is like awesome. I'm so glad I'm getting better at this. So, for any of those of you thinking about going live and doing this, just do it. Just do it. It gets better. Every time you get better. So 355. So there are those fives again. Five, 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 five. Just for you, Judy. Oh, it is, Annie. Oh my gosh, that's pretty funny too. Wow. So somebody trying to get your attention also. So the first thing that I notice is these two fives together. 55 is the numeric vibration of the word karmic. So we just talked about karma and the 8 of bringing it back around. Karmic, this is really telling us that this momentum of change. So whenever we have a vibration that's sitting right next to another vibration, it's making it amplified and creating like momentum, like it's moving faster and it's louder. So we are looking for this week a lot of change because we have 2 of these fives here. We're looking for where change is happening, but not just any change. Change that is karmic, where we can clearly see that this change that is coming or the change that is required is from the return of energy, the return of anything, really, but any kind of vibration or energy. So it's thinking about where are we seeing and experiencing karma, reap what you sow energy, chickens coming home to roost energy, any of that. And this is necessary for the growth that is intended to happen. When we have, so where we had 53, you notice that the 35, the mirror image, which we were just talking about, mirrors. So 35 is the mirror image of 53. So that vibration's up in here. But where we were talking about 53 before, where the growth had to happen first, where we had to examine where we were growing and how we were growing to be able to change, here we need to see the change first. We need to see and recognize the change as karmic before the growth can happen. But this is still the biggest change that we can make is transformation, which is the 13. So we are looking for some big, huge changes this week in our lives and what we see. And it's always easier to see outside of ourselves. So look there first before you look at yourself, because it's harder to see for ourselves. But if you look outside of yourself, that's how we can recognize the mirrors that then can help us look at internally. So this week we want to look for a lot of these changes that are very much karmic, where it's like, oh, that change happened because of this happening. And it's leading to growth and a big transformation. And this big transformation is so big that it's changing the foundation of things, which we've talked about also, getting to that 4. It's changing the foundation of things. Josh, I never know. I never know if what I'm saying is on accident or purpose anymore. So I guess we could just take it all as intentional. Whether it's on purpose or accident, it's intentional. Yes. Yes, Rusty. That's a very good example of the man in the mirror, of like recognizing those mirrors. Yep. Yes. We needed to acknowledge. We needed to acknowledge. So this is our vibration for the week. So go out into the week, look for these numbers. You could see if you're seeing, experiencing 55, 355, any of these numbers in any order or any part of these numbers. But also, you want to look and be aware of these themes. Because a lot of times we don't see the vibrations as a number, we see it as themes. Like I see everything as a number. I see all of the vibrations, and everything as a number. But typically we see it as a theme. So you're looking for themes around karmic change, change that has occurred from karmic energy, and growth that has happened from karmic energy coming back. We've already seen a lot of this, like in hip hop, especially this week, but we'll see big, huge changes this week, and these transformations that are happening. Remembering that transformation is change that you cannot come back from. All right. I think we are good to go out into the world. Good luck with all of these vibrations. This is great. Another good discussion with you all. So thank you so much for being here. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. And we'll meet again soon. This was fun. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a good week. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We will talk soon. Bye. I don't know. Like it's broken.